Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly shop steward today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Paizo Publishing's outstanding Pathfinder 2nd Edition fantasy role-playing game, set in our custom setting of the Spires of Paridar, and a setting of occult conspiracy, sorry, Coalpunk setting of occult conspiracy, class disparity, and industrial progress. And with me today are the stars of the Spires of Paridar campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are, who you're playing, and that's it. There's no level. We know you're all the same level. You're all 6th level, right? I hope so, because I've designed the combat encounter for 6th level. If not, my hopes are with you guys. So first up is Sean.
Hey, I'm Sean. I'm playing Golag, son of Doc. He is a orc witch detective.
I want to go back and count how long the gap gets between saying orc and witch over time. Next up is James.
I'm James, and I'm playing Sally Dumer, the Azarkati aquatic detective.
Very nice.
And closet monk.
And closet monk, yep. Next up is Ingolf.
Hi, I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Basil Ricebone, who is an Isoki investigator.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least is Darren.
Yep, Darren here. I'm playing Dr. Adam Ersprung, who is a created flesh warp inventor, and his trusty sidekick, Igor.
Very nice. All right, guys. So I'll bring you over to the picture postcard of the delightful Dag on the Sea town that we have been spending our last few months in. But last session did seem, as with the one before, to be a fairly eventful one. What happened last time, guys?
Last time, where did we start off? We recovered the clockwork spy from the church ceremony. And as we thought might be the case, there was a lot of talk of the fish people. I think Sally's language was used in parts of the sort of what they were doing, performing rituals during the service. A lot of references to some sort of watery tongue, and like I say, I think some of it was in Sally's language because she identified some of it.
And the two things that could be the two ways to address the strangers were whisper or water, I think.
That's what they said. And they also seemed to be praying for the mist to come in every night. That seemed to be something that they were almost summoning in. And then later that evening, it seemed to be a majority of the town went out with lanterns, torches, pitchforks, etc. They seemed to be searching for something. We think that was probably the Sea Devils, but we didn't actually prove it, but that was definitely our suspicions. At that point, we decided to try and sneak out of town and go and speak to the farmer on the outskirts of town, or just outside of town, who seems to be not involved in any of these shenanigans. We finally got to meet up with him, and he gave us quite a bit of information. He was convinced it was the father, and he thought Mr. Is it Horgan? Yeah, Horgan from the tannery, not the tannery, cannery, was heavily involved, and he agreed to help us. He was going to donate some chemicals from the farm, as we were planning to sort of poison the weed and undergrowth, it was a weed, wasn't it, growing under the ruined castle, so that we could get to the eggs and destroy the eggs. So the doctor was working on making some chemicals to affect these weeds and kill them off, and also an antidote. Hopefully we're going to get some chemicals again from the spa to make some sort of antidote or something to neutralize it afterwards, so that we don't have a massive impact on the marine life. So yeah, we was planning that. and then hopefully Sally was going to be able to go in and destroy these Dark Tide Rider eggs before they hatch and take over however many people from the town. So that was our main focus, is getting rid of those eggs at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Anything else to add?
No.
You did, forgive me if I miss it, but you also did, to read with the farmer, you snuck out of town.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a close encounter with one of the patrols.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we managed to get out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is one thing too. Not to put too fine a point on it, but the searches that were going on in town, what was your feeling that they were looking for?
Well, I thought it was the Sea Devils. Well, that was our group's sort of idea, that it was the Sea Devils rather than us. Because of the previous night we'd mentioned and pointed out the footprints, and the father seemed to be quite shocked by that. So I think he'd rallied the troops, and they'd all gone out with their lanterns and pitchforks looking for any signs of the Sea Devils returning in the night.
I think if you want to keep the references to lanterns and pitchforks down, Dr. Ersprung may find that a bit triggering. Yeah. He found it a bit. He's got used to it now. He's coming to terms with it. It's also, he hasn't thrown a girl in a pond in years now.
Yeah.
Well, weeks. So I believe we pick up then at the farmer who, let me see here, did I write his name? Ben Clemens, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ben Clemens, yeah.
At his farm, and you have the materials there, I believe, to make the poison, or to have the poison. There was a question of distribution and the antidote as well, right?
I think we were planning on stealing some cans, weren't we, from the cannery, and like putting holes in them or something so that it slowly dispersed out.
Yep.
As we sort of dropped them into the water. So I think we were going to do a bit of a nighttime acquiring of some cans.
That's actually an interesting point. You do recall seeing Mr. Horgan, forgive me, at the church when there was the meeting with Father Ignatius. Is that his name? No, not Ignatius. What was his name? Where is he?
Allardyce.
Allardyce, yes.
Allardyce.
That bear. Playing into the Anglophone Francophobia with that name. So the if he is there along with some of his laborers, it may very well be that some of the crew at the cannery may very well be off searching as opposed to working the night shift. So it sounds like there are a couple of things. One is the contacting the spa to either steal the materials or to contact Dr. McKinnon, that hobgoblin, and trying to acquire the materials from her, because they have all sorts of bizarre shit they're using for treatments over there. And there is the cannery. Is there anything else that you need to consider before we go out? One thing that I think, did you mention to Mr. Clemens that you had snuck out of town?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember if we specifically said it or not.
I think we mentioned that we were had to avoid the villagers or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
They were unfriendly.
So one thing he's going to ask is, what's going to happen when they find that you've got nothing in your beds? You think they're going to go looking for you?
Maybe. Normally they try to lock us in.
Locking you in?
Yeah, into the rooms, because, I don't know, people aren't allowed to wander the village at night.
Paridar has very, very poor fire codes, so... what do you guys wish to do next then? So we're picking up our session at the Clements Farm, just outside of Dag on the Sea, closer to Barrington. Not closer to Barrington, in the direction of Barrington. It's closest to Dag on the Sea.
I just want to collect enough chemicals and get Igor to carry those back with us to be able to make this chemical bombs or whatever we're going to call them.
Yeah, I think you will need a cart in all likelihood, because if it's the amount that you're going to distribute to really cover like what the area that a keep would cover. You probably need, not like a wagon full of stuff, but at the very least a cart laden up with, stuff.
Has he got something that we could borrow?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
It does seem like he's working here on his own. So there's a lot of neglected and there is, curiously, you're going to have a lot of stuff to work with. You may recall he had that particular interest in Igor and mistook him for an automaton at first. There's a lot of advanced contraptions around the farm. Like for a old family farm, this guy seems to be trying to take advantage of as much automation as he can to get things going.
Yeah, and I'll promise to give him a hand with getting some of it back up to speed and repaired and stuff if there's any.
You know what? Why don't you give us a crafting check? Actually, I wonder.
Let
me grab my
I think I'll probably just use my assurance.
What was your
24. 24.
24, okay. As a reminder, the average DC for level 6 is a 22 to judge how successful you were. So this might be... Well, let me ask, are you satisfied with the 24?
What am I actually trying to do? Is this...
I want to see if there's anything here. If he's got so much stuff around, I want to see if there's something here you might kludge. Like, if he's living on his own, he's not running a farm on his own. A farm requires at least some farmhands, but he's got nobody here working, so hence all the automation. If he does have that automation, I'm wondering if there's something here that you might be able to kludge together as the distribution thing that you were hoping to get at the
cannery,
Yeah.
So my question would be, if I fail, I can't use assurance on the second attempt, can I? Like a reroll?
No, because you're rolling then. As soon as you make the decision to roll, then it's...
Yeah. Well, if I've got the backup of the cannery, then I'll roll, I think. Let's do that.
Is anyone else trained in crafting? Look at that! Holy smokes! So, yeah. What you find is a piece of what looks to be... it wouldn't be like a... I don't know anything about farming either. As if my ignorance on farming equals my ignorance on sailing things. So, but it's the it's not an auger, but whatever the fucking thing is, a tiller maybe that you drag along behind, and it creates furrows and whatnot. Imagine something like that, but what it does is it distributes what they call
seeds or something.
Yeah, instead of distributing seeds, it'll distribute poison. So it'll weed killer or whatever that you're using here.
Yep.
So this thing, it's going to require, like, it's heavy, so like a rowboat probably couldn't like hook this thing up and then distribute it, but a sailing vessel that certainly could.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Golag's trained in... Yeah, my question was only because of aid. Pathfinder 2, technically, you don't need to be trained to aid someone, but I think in this case, because it's requiring a judgment call, that probably would require training. But a 31... Well, you can roll again, Golag. You want to try and bump that up to a 33? Fuck it.
Nope.
You're also aware that with a crit fail, it'll bring it down? So...
I'm good.
All right. Unfortunately, that low-hanging fruit was too tempting.
Too obvious.
Yep, too obvious. That one's a trap. Okay, so then, you, Adam, or Dr. Ersprung, forgive me, you have found something that would definitely fit the job. There may be a little bit of... if you have any ideas, too, like, feel free to you know, to assist with this thing being in the water, for instance, like you could weld or attach two kind of like buoys or something, or like barrels on the side, so that it'll float and distribute across the, you know, the top.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But what else do you guys wish to do then?
Well, I guess that means we don't need to go to the cannery, which is good.
Yeah. But we still need to go to the spar. And I think that is even the more dangerous way, because we have to move through the village, if I understand correctly, because the spar is on the opposite side.
It is on the opposite.
Now got the cart as well, haven't we?
The other option would be to try and acquire a boat or a ship, and because you remember there is the beach that leads from, like, there's a walkway up the cliffs to go up, but you did see markings of the sea devils down near there. Older markings, mind you, but... And I think that Mr. Clements told you that's where he saw his grandfather saw the sea devils dancing.
I mean, we're going to need a boat at some point to deploy this thing, so maybe we should look at a boat now and get it out of the way while most of the town are busy, maybe.
Does Father Clement happen to have any acquaintances that have boats?
Mr. Clement?
Mr. Clement? What did I say?
No,
I was going for farmer, whatever I said.
Oh, he said father.
Oh,
No,
farmer is what I was trying to...
No.
I was trying to get out.
Mr. Clement, or Farmer Clement, does not. No, he's his land is inland, and he doesn't have, as you may imagine, he doesn't have a lot of friends in town nowadays. Though he's happy to. You know what he'll do though is if you want to try and acquire one from someone, the skill challenge that'll involve that he'll grant you +2 because he'll give you planning. He does, as much as he holds himself out from the farm, he seems to know an awful lot about the goings on in town. So he's that hate everybody but keep track of what they're doing kind of neighbor.
Nice. Yeah, and maybe that would be helpful if we're asking around. I think Golag could be good at that, at trying to see who might have a boat for rent or something.
So because of the demands with the fishing, there's you would know this before, like it's very unlikely you're going to be able to rent a boat because of the yields of the catches nowadays. And to be clear, the motor operated fishing ship or fishing boat, those ones are the ones that are occupied. You could probably find like a rowboat or something like that. That's not going to help you with distributing the poison, but it could serve the purposes of like skirting around the town. It does mean going out into the fog and the water though.
What do you guys think on obtaining a boat? Any thoughts on how to proceed?
Can we get a boat from the neighboring village? Because I think if we steal a boat here, then I mean the fishermen are most likely all involved in this kind of cult. So that would be very detrimental to our case, I suppose.
A giveaway of it's a thought.
Is it a rowboat or a motorized fishing vessel? Fishing vessel.
We
Sean Connery impression.
We feel we need a motorboat to distribute. You say, Kevin? Is that right?
You need a proper fishing boat in order to distribute the stuff. So it's possible. Like there are all sorts of little villages and whatnot along the way. They are more likely to have. Actually, there is between here. You'd probably have to go fairly far back. The reason being is that there's probably small, cottages and whatnot of people living along there, but they're more likely to have smaller boats, not like rowboats type things, or like small little sailing vessels, like skiffs, as opposed to the proper fishing trawler that these guys are operating in the town. And the reason being is that if you've got a great big ship and or a great big fishing boat and you're able to bring back great big yields, if you live on your own, like what are you going to do with all those fish? Right, like you need to be living in a village where you can bring them in and they can go to market or whatever. So,
I mean, the only hope I have is that this the guy who owns the cannery might have a big boat, but not for fishing, but just to show off.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Why don't you give us a
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Clemens
Why don't you
knows.
use a society you can use? I can't remember. Do you use streetwise as well, Basil?
Yes.
So society or
streetwise
diplomacy
feat.
and Golag, you help him with that, and you'll get a +2.
Okay.
So Golag, you're rolling against a DC 20, but it's a reaction, so you can do it afterwards after you see Basil's roll. But Basil, you're getting a +2. Remember, don't put the plus sign in.
Yeah. Okay. So this was an exceptionally bad roll, so I will just try to
Hero
re-roll.
point that, okay.
Yes. Because +17 is not enough to go merely a 22.
Oof. Okay, so Golag, would you give us a streetwise role play, or not streetwise, either society or diplomacy?
Okay. +2 is mine, or no?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
34.
Yeah, why
Okay,
didn't you make the roll?
That's a crit.
Stand aside, Basil. Stand aside.
Yeah,
So that is a
if it comes
+2 to the results. It's a 24. So yeah, there was not in the low, like the it's probably tucked away in the cove, like in a place where it's not regularly going in and out. But yeah, there's definitely a ship in there that would be the rich guy's ship.
Yeah, and that is why Golag knows all of this, you know? I can only imagine what it is being rich, but
Nice
Golag...
I mean, it's unlikely he has a carriage as fine as mine, but his boat is... we
Basil,
need,
it's
we need
not
a
that
boat.
you have to. I can only imagine what it's like to be rich. Golag tells you about it every day.
And he's imagining the shadow illuminators on the side, you know, of the boat.
I'm picturing him rolling into town, his goggles on, his Isadora Duncan scarf flying behind him, looking over at the ship and letting out a really long whistle. I'm just like, ooh.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So then, you have that. Oh, speaking of your Golag, you don't suppose they would have done anything to your carriage, would they? Your motorized carriage?
Right. I mean, they are uncivilized around here. It's hate to think of it, but
so here's your options then. If you're just gonna like snag a rowboat from some cottage or whatnot that's a little away from Dag on the Sea, or not necessarily a cottage, but like some dock that's down near the water, you can most certainly find that. It'll be not like a small rowboat, like a recreation one. It'll be a big enough boat to be able to row out into the sea, but and sturdy enough to fit all of you, Igor included on there. So did I say Igor? I meant anchor on there. And then you can certainly make your way. That's really going to be a DC like 10 stealth check to be able to find this, steal this, and get out. To get into the actual harbor and steal Mr. Horgan's ship, then that's going to be a little bit more of an involved thing. But it does seem like, well, yeah, you weren't down by the water, so it's an open question as to how much focus the harbor is getting for their searches today.
Should we go and investigate the harbour, see how much attention there is around there, and make the decision on that?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
We'll let's see. what is everyone's current activity? So, Dr. Earthsprung, you're good with you've gotten that cart good to go, and what tasks?
Chemicals, yeah.
Should we stick together? Okay, yeah, the chemicals, right. Chemicals is the other big one.
Are you planning on bringing that and the distribution thing with you?
I think we're going to have to put that on the wagon and take the wagon down the coast a bit, maybe, and then come and collect it with the boat, maybe. Because I think riding a cart through town with all these people about, that's going to be so obvious. They're going to spot that or hear it quite far off, I think. So I'll go on the noisy route, and the stealthier people maybe go down to the harbour.
If you are going to otherwise customize this distribution apparatus, you will need time for that as well.
Yeah.
So are you planning on doing that later, or because Mr. Clement does have a shop where you could take advantage of that, or you could perform that? Otherwise, you're going to have to figure out how to get where you're going to perform the changes.
How long do I think it will take?
Probably 4 hours.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I spend the next 4 hours doing it and then meet you, we could do this tonight. You know, we could distribute it tonight and then go to the spa tomorrow to try and create this sort of antidote and deploy that the following day. Or
to give the context of the time, what that would mean is that Dr. Earthsprung is probably finishing up his repairs or changes or whatnot by around 3:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So when do we have any idea how long this will take? So how long does the boat have to stay there to distribute this? So
it would be
my problem is now that we might end up with some kind of fight on the ship.
So here's an option. Here's a downside, I guess, to using this apparatus is that like you would have to be dragging this thing across trawler style to distribute this shit evenly across the thing, and that's not even counting the time to make the antidote if you're still intent on doing that. If you're distributing it the way you'd said with sort of the cans stuff, that's a little easier to conceal, and it's just sailing along and dropping stuff down at certain key places.
Mm-hmm.
So the latter is likely to be easier and less obvious because you're not having any mechanisms running or whatnot. The other is that is what you have right now, I guess, is the one way of distributing this poison. So the noisy bird in the hand versus the less noisy bird in the bush.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how complicated it is to get those cans, but maybe we should do this because I imagine that we could easier get away from the cannery than we could get away from the sea, because you're not so fast on the sea.
Well, do we delay this till tomorrow night? Sort of get the cans tonight, create the chemicals, go to the spa, create the antidote, and then do it tomorrow night?
No. So there was this idea to split the party. That was exactly...
When has that ever gone wrong?
Yeah. So
then one of you comes back with a great big new hat.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
I mean, there should be one team to capture the boat and the other one to capture the cans. I mean, simple, huh?
Okay. So then, who is team cans and who is team boat? Zero effort put into these names, by the by.
Let's see.
I think there's no... Go like your team boat.
Sounds fun.
Because yeah. Didn't you just want to have a boat for us? For the Shadow Illuminators?
I mean, a stolen boat wasn't my first thought, but, we'll evaluate after our tasks are done. Yeah, okay. I'll be on the boat crew.
Go legs on Team Boat. Oh, Sal, you get a hero point too. I don't think you've spent one yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And Sally should be. I don't know. You should. So
I think I need to be cannery, right? To sneak in.
yeah. So Sally and I could sneak if we wanted to.
To the cannery.
Yeah.
So then, the let me think here. Do you think there's any technical explanation that needs to be offered to getting these cans from Dr. Earthsprung? Because I guess, like,
What size and
yeah, like, and because I mean,
number?
if the mechanism is a thing that takes it from like raw product, both in terms of the cans and the fish, to a sealed thing at the end of the sort of mechanism, how are you planning on getting stuff? I guess, like, if you're running stuff through with just empty cans, you'll be getting empty sealed cans.
Okay, I'm Team Boat. It's okay.
Wet rat again. Oh, I'm just trying to understand what because you could do it, like, in theory, you could get all those cans, you could open them up, you got all the material you need at the farmer's shack, so you could get empty cans and then do that.
I think the plan would be this. You get an empty can that's sealed, you punch a hole in the top of it, and you pour in the liquid, and that's also how it comes back out.
Yeah, I might put some more holes in afterwards, just to distribute it, just before I throw them in, sort of thing. But I'll find a suitable tool to either block it up if the hole's too big, or make smaller holes so it slowly disperses evenly. So I'm gonna raid his tool shed or whatever it is to find appropriate sort of piercing sort of type tools that
definitely you can find it there.
Get some corks, then we could fill it in.
So then, Dr. Earthsprung, why don't you give us a crafting check? And this will be, you can actually take, you don't need to roll for this if you don't want to. If you want to take, rely on assurance, you'll grant +1 to the rolls for the folks operating the machinery. So for Sally and Basil to operate the machinery and get it empty cans, that's going to be a very low DC check for you guys. So it's going to be fairly easy, but like, as someone who had trouble, like, say, getting his Xbox going some days, I imagine operating a cannery is probably going to require a little more, knowledge than that you could very easily get wrong. And then Dr. Earthsprung and Golag, I guess, are going for Team Boat. The other option.
So we changed. Okay, so I'm then on team can.
Well, I'd say your call. Like, just Dr. Earthsprung's not. It's not necessary for him to be there. The DC to operate the machinery is going to be like a DC 10 to not get it wrong. Without making a roll, Dr. Earthsprung can already grant a +1. If he wants to roll, he could grant up to a +2.
Yeah. The problem is more which skill would it use to operate this machine. So yeah, I'm not good at crafting. So 10 is a challenge. It's not too far out.
Minimum 9 with Dr. Earthsprung's help.
Yeah.
Sally, you trained in crafting at all?
No, that's not good, is it?
I mean, I am good at crafting, I will say.
Then
Yeah, but we need you to say which the ship of this guy is. So I imagine that Golag knows the ship, maybe.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not indispensable in whatever endeavor we're doing here. It's just really that I can only be in one place at one time.
Yeah, Golag's like, I know. That's difficult.
Yeah, okay. So Golag, you're basically the head of the agency. So you decide. Just assign us to our positions.
So we know the cannery requires crafting. What would the boat require? What is that primary skill for that, would we say?
The boat. It's probably going to be crafting or a relevant knowledge.
Crafting's in heavy demand.
I mean, or relevant. What knowledges do you guys have?
Knowledge.
Or lore, sorry, I'm thinking of fucking 3.5.
Oh, Lord.
Paridar law?
Paridar lore, not...
Warfare? I mean, did we at some point, I mean, in warfare, I could imagine that I have steered something, but not a boat, maybe.
No.
Last time we were on land fighting.
Does a boat operate anything like a tank?
Yeah.
So warfare, I think you could conceivably make a roll there. Paridar, you could conceivably make a roll there too, but the difficulty numbers are going to be higher than something that would be more obviously located. What are yours, Golang?
I don't know if that would be useful. Speaking
It
of
really
lures.
wouldn't. Occultism is the command of this campaign.
Well, because it lets you come up with lores that you don't have. That's the through like an occult ritual. That's why I bring it up.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's see here. How about I read it before you disparage it,
Before
Madison?
you just
Come on.
dismiss,
Yeah, Jesus.
Before you just dismiss.
Well, it's funny.
idea.
In our Kingmaker campaign, one of the players is playing, Jamie is playing a thaumaturge, and he has this sort of like all-purpose lore thing. And without fail, he's rolled like crits 3 or 4 times in the course of using it. So his character constantly shows up with like an unbelievable amount of information about shit he should have no business knowing. So this is kind of what this is for this campaign. All right. At the end of these 10 minutes, recall knowledge with any... Oh, so it's not... But the thing is, you're not using it for the recall knowledge check. You're using it for doing something?
Activity.
Yeah. But maybe...
Yeah.
Maybe that could aid, though, in it. So why don't you do this? If you're going to spend 10 minutes... Also, I absolutely love the feel of that feat. It's such a fucking cool. It's from Occult, isn't it?
Yeah. What's that?
It's from whatever it is, the Occult book.
Yes, I believe it is. It's been a while, but yes, I think so.
Yeah, Dark Archive. Which really, unfortunately, alliteration on that title. Why don't you give us an occultism check then, please? And we'll treat this roll just as if you were that you were aiding another. Okay, so you get +1 to it. So it's still going to require that same skill, but you're able to give some... Oh, no, you're the one doing it. So you'll have a +1 to whatever the difficulty is for it. You could spend a hero point trying to re-roll if you'd like, but how good was that roll? That's a 10, so you're about dead average, but you're 6 off from a crit, so...
Yeah. That's okay. I'll stick with it. The question remains, and who is next best at craftsmanship? Dr. Ersprung, you have craftsman, right? Crafting?
Oh, yeah. But I need to stay and make the chemicals, really, so I'm going to be quite far behind.
I see.
4 hours behind and in the wagon.
You're not going on the cannery or the boat, right? Does that mean? Or...
No, I think I'll have to meet you sort of once you've got the boat slightly down the coast with the wagon, load it up, and then do the mission.
Yeah.
Tough call. And Basil and Ms. Dumir have no crafting in essence, right? Ish.
So we are fairly sure that we could operate this tin machinery, but...
Basil, I trust you.
You do have a hero point each, so there is that. At least there's
there you go.
A reroll that's in the mix here.
You're fine. But Basil and Ms. Demir, how about you go to the cannery, and I will prepare our new company boat.
Okay.
Very good. Basil, you seem very contemplative. Did you have something critical?
No. I'm just sitting on bad jokes, which I don't want to make.
Which would be such a rarity for this game. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Go ahead. Let's see here. So, Dr. Ersprung, do you wish to roll, or do you wish to take assurance on your crafting? You're fairly certain this could easily. Well, I guess let me ask you this first. What is it you're trying to do? You know, the only suggestion I've, or only modification I have suggested thus far has been the like welding on of things to keep it buoyant. Are there any other changes that you think you might want to make to it? Like adding a machine gun, or you know.
I think it's going to be fairly straightforward. I think we're going to go for the simple solution. You know, can with holes in. Spilling out stuff. I think we want to keep it simple, stupid.
Okay, so that you are confident you can do with assurance if you wish. Then there's no roll necessary. If you would like to roll, I'll roll secretly just to see if there's any, if there are any fundamental flaws in it. What better time to learn about them than when you're in the cove?
Yeah. No, I'll go with the assurance.
Okay.
I'll go for 24 and see how we go.
Okay, good. So that'll be 4 hours of your work. That means that 4 hours of night for Golag, Sally, and Basil to make your way into town. Or forgive me, Ms. Dumer. Then, who wants to go first? Who would like to do their task first?
I will lead the way.
You will? Nice. Do you wish to make use of any spells or other class abilities to sneak back into town, make your way down to the harbor, and make your way towards the waiting ship?
Let me see here. So let's see. I mean, I have so the spells that could come in handy, depending on situationally, are perhaps like sleep. I have prepared. So if that, if I run into
now, I still haven't loaded all of your summoning creatures in there too, but don't take you can still take advantage of all of those, the ones that you had made before. We'll add them in as we go here. I just have not had. Yeah.
I don't have animate dead prepared anyway, so we're good there.
Oh, good. You'll have two chances.
Yep. So I have sleep, I have command. So these things could situationally be handy if I run into obstacles like like some crew or some people on the docks that perhaps put them to sleep if I can't get by them. Okay. That's the kind of thing. What else? Maybe telekinetic projectile from like max distance, because hopefully to minimize, my speaking and to create a sound in another direction. So I hurl something in the fog, and have them hear, hey, what's that? That kind of classic type of misdirect.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm...
All right. So why don't we start with this then? Why don't Golag, you give us a stealth check, please, for sneaking back into town.
Yes.
I'm adjusting the difficulty class based on the ambient circumstances.
Okay.
So, Golag, for your efforts it's a bit of a curious feeling. You really wish that Sally and Basil could see how well you're being unseen, because you are absolutely a ghost as you make your way into here, almost as if the shadows that lurk in the many tattoos that mark your body, that they almost enshroud you further. You can see as you're making your way down that there do appear to be people who are searching. Let me do this here. Go.
And I should have mentioned my shadow too, of course. My shadow for if a purpose comes up might be handy.
So around here, and down into the square where there's that spire, the sundial. People are searching around there, but once you're able to sneak down this bit here and down towards the harbor, I guess you'd be sneaking around here and then down to the harbor. You are able to easily make your way down. What you can also see is that what do you call it? There's like not gates, but like I guess it'd be a gate that are closed for the entrance. So you will need to open the doors. Doesn't seem to be locked. It just seems to be closed. So there will be a need to get things out. You also have no difficulty as you're sneaking your way along the shore here to identify where that ship, the waiting ship, is too. You can see on the side there is the name of the ship. You didn't make it out earlier. It is the Daughter of Dag.
Golag's been working on his climbing. I wouldn't underestimate Golag on his.
So how do you want to deal with the gate and the ship? Do you want to like unmoor the ship first and get that moving, or do you wish to get the gates open first, then address the ship?
Do I think that I could open the gate from the ship, like floating up to it?
No, you would need to get out and operate it. There is a mechanism
I'll do the
to
gate
open it.
first. I'll do the gate first.
Okay. Have you access to silence as a spell?
Let's see here. Not. Oh, I see. I should have. Didn't prepare a potential invisibility sphere, but I do not have that. I do not have that prepared.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me take a look here.
It is in your occult list, and it is your level.
Invisibility sphere?
No, silence.
Oh, I see. I don't have silence.
Okay. Then, what would this be?
I have levitate. I don't think that'll come into play here. I can reach it, right? I can.
You can easily reach it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it might be just a matter of luck as to whether or not anyone here. So let me grab a dice here. I'm not going to grab my joke Brancalonia dice. I think I told you guys it has 2 20s on it, eh? 2 20s.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So you operate this thing, and there is the sound of moving, kind of as it sloshes open. You don't need to monitor it. Once you've hit it to get going, it's going to open up on its own and stop at its terminus. So you're able to kind of race back and give your attention to the boat if you choose to.
Yes.
Okay.
So I hop 2.
Yep. So you race back, and why don't you give us a perception check while you are on the Daughter of Dag? Okay. So you are on the deck and kind of like unspooling the ropes and whatnot, and you can hear the sound of a voice coming through the thick fog. And recall, the fog is not as thick tonight as it has been in past. It's not like can't see past your hand, but you can't see more than like 20 feet or 10 feet in front of you. Mm-hmm. And you can hear voices muffled by the fog saying, "I'm telling you, oh, something down there." We're told to look for stuff on land. I'm telling you, I heard something down there.
I am going to, let's see. And how far away are the voices, would you say, Kevin? Like about?
Probably, with that roll, they're somewhere between like 10 and 50 feet away. The fog is what's making it difficult to really pin down how far away they are. They don't sound like they're moving in the direction of you, though. They sound like they're passing by and making their way. The ship, as I said, is further back in the harbor here, so you're somewhere probably around here, getting it ready to go. They seem like they're making their way this way. unless you walk along the wall, which is kind of irresponsible when it's wet with the fog and whatnot, they're probably going to walk down to the to here and then make their way over to where the mechanism was that opened up the gates. Unless they are trying to just walk down to the harbor itself and see where the, what, if anything's going on with the ships or boats.
I'm going to remain quiet. I'm going to just stop moving and listening. Have my sleep spell in mind.
Okay.
Just in case, and see if I can have them pass. Give them time to pass.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one upside is you're also seeing their lights. So, like, they're little glowing things. It's easy to track along. Why don't you give us a perception check at plus 2, please?
All right.
No, don't put the plus sign in. Let's see. Wow. You're 100% sure they're going to be passing by where for the direction they're going, they look like they're going down to the docks, and they are definitely heading in the direction of the gates. So you don't need to make another stealth check. You've already rolled incredibly well. You could just sneak up on them if you wish to, or you can sneak to intercept them, or you can just prioritize getting this thing going because you had already unmoored some of the ropes.
And I'm confident they're going to see the gate open. That's the situation.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I am going to, let's see here. I think I'm going to try sleep on them.
Okay.
I have, so sleep is a 30-foot range, but I also have a feat that lets me extend it by 30.
Yeah. So it would take one extra. That'd be a 3 action, so a full round basically. Throw a platform.
Yep. Exactly.
And 30-foot burst or 5-foot burst.
Yeah, I'll just put it in the. There you go.
Perfect. So yeah.
I don't think I've used sleep this whole campaign. I don't think it's come up like one time. So
no.
Just curious. Yeah.
I think everything you've been facing is just horrible, unnatural things that are unlikely to benefit from slumber. Right. So then why don't we do this? You don't need to make a roll. Tell us what it looks like as you're sneaking your way along the fog, trying to catch up to where these two are.
In some ways humorous if you actually saw this without the fog, because he's a very large orc, well-dressed, trimmed out, and on, literally on tippy toes as he's going dun 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 with the little music, almost you could play in your head. And but then you realize he's doing it pretty well. Like he's pretty quiet, staying underneath the sound of that lapping water, which is like the key audible bar to best. And then from weighting it to an optimal distance, being a skilled magic practitioner, says the words and wraps a little sleep cloak around their face, and get the whole whatever they're doing, whatever they do to
Where would you like this to take effect? On the stairs, before they get down here, on the dock itself?
Wherever's more shadowy. So I would be prioritizing
definitely down to the harbor. Then, if you're going to let them get all the way down to the harbor, that will certainly be enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let me make saves for them. Okay. So you speak your language. Your eyes go all jet black once again. You speak in that umbral, arcane language. And you very quickly hear the sound of as two bodies hit the ground. Now, you would know as from experience, like this could buy you a minute before they wake up, or could buy you an hour.
I hop too, so off to the boat.
Okay.
Get back, into the back end and off, and unmoor and set underway. So
this is a crafting check then at +1. Remember, don't put the plus sign in, please.
This is why he's here. This crafting. He blows
and
this.
just, the way I'm going to interpret this is like there's degrees of getting this thing functional. You're to really fuck this up, you have to roll quite poorly, like to hit another ship and whatnot. But if you get even just a bare minimum success, at least you're going to get it going. It's just that it might be noisy or it might be, clumsy. But go ahead, crafting check, please. +1.
And if I roll well, I get maybe the scarf blowing behind me, and
yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. No, that's absolutely good enough. So the ship, you manage to turn the daughter of Dag out, and it slips out. And as you're passing by, you can hear. Do you have Mage Hand?
I do, but I don't have it prepared.
Oh. So have you a contingency? You would be aware that having these gates open would be something that would likely trigger, like they would be aware of something being afoot down here. As you're passing by it, while normal folks can't reach out and just hit this thing and close the door on the way out, it's not like a garage door opener, not everyone has a shadow that can detach from them.
Yes.
So do you think Golag would have thought of that?
I think we should roll.
Okay. What are you thinking? A will save to resist, glorifying himself with how well he's sailing, or what?
As he's working on his scarf and he's retying.
Exactly. This has got to be perfect when the guys see me.
Sure. Let's see. I don't think there'd be quick scan. I don't think there's anything be better than that. Let me think. No. Yeah, probably will, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Big money. Come on.
Oh, it's pretty shaky right there.
No, it's probably good enough to.
Okay.
But I think it's like sort of like last minute you realize like, oh shit, that door's still going to be open, and you can hear one of them is sort of like muttering like, "What happened? What we fall down for?" And you can't see them yet, and they can't see you yet. But what would you like to do?
Yes. Let me see about my shadow.
I think it's like Igor, where like you give up one action to give it two.
Yeah. I just want to make sure it can interact.
I think so. The shadows can't. Oh, that's a good question. It's different across different things. Let me see. Shadows in the bestiary. Okay. Shadows in the Bestiary was my Susie and the Banshees cover band in high school. Okay.
It can attack though, can't it, the shadow?
But I think it does like strength damage or...
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I just can't remember if it does in... Hold on, let's see. No, it does proper damage.
So it must be able to physically...
Yep, it can interact, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's got a resistance, so it's intangible, but it's not... or it's not intangible. It is less like fully corporeal, but it definitely,
It can interact with objects.
Yeah, because mechanically, shadows have a resistance against most things, but resistance doesn't mean immune.
Yeah, so I'll make a sharp command that sounds like some kind of sinister whispering.
Yeah.
And and have it quickly unwrap it.
Yeah, it goes over and you see it wrap its tendrils around, passing through it partly, and then. And as you're sailing out, it begins closing the doors once again. Golag, you have successfully committed grand theft boat.
And Golag's feeling good about it too. Like he's like, yeah, this is sweet. Like this is what was I thinking? Like we need to get wherever the docks are in Paridar. He's just idly thinking.
Yeah.
We need to get a presence.
I do have. We're all ready at our. It would be Admiralty Law, exactly. Well, no, because it's within 1 mile, so it would be the local law, technically. Yeah, but
remember, you're not driving this boat. You're traveling in it.
And I do have one bit of thing for Golag to consider as you are sailing away, and as we take our mid-session break, and that is, what is it called? The draft of the ship. because there's a reason this thing is docked at a harbor and not on the beach. Is because it's going to run aground if you try and bring it in too close to a beach. You need to bring boats out to it unless you can find another harbor.
Yeah.
The key for.
Gotcha.
Is it the keel? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The keel's
No,
underneath it. That's at the bottom bit. It's a draft of boat. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's the depth.
Did I
of it.
accidentally get something right
I
about
thought
boats?
Where you dock the boat at, isn't that called a key? It is written Q.
Oh yeah, it can be a key.
Oh, yeah.
A key is one that's like built way out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the difference between a key and a harbor is like a key is a permanent emplacement. I don't know. I'm feeling high on my getting draft correct, so I just feel like I'm over.
Stay there.
Yeah.
Stay there. Don't go
I'm
farther.
channeling my Golag here. Like I've proven accidental competence in one thing, and I'm now woefully overconfident in all my other understandings. All right, so why don't we take our mid-session break now, guys? We'll fetch our beverages, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll see how things go with the cannery heist. All right. Voting has been fast and furious on charity stuff today. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's had the most votes out of any of them.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think that's 100% right. We got the leading back off man. I'm a scientist, and D20 Modern Love are looking like the leaders right now. Dave hasn't voted. Jeff hasn't voted. Actually, I think still a lot of you guys who, even just from the player roster, who haven't cast your vote. THX, thanks for voting as well. Oh, THX, if you haven't got my message too, double check your DMs, because we've got, I had a question for you about a final wrap up for this year's campaign as well. Okay. Ingolf, you ran Hellboy at some point, didn't you? Oh, he can't hear me. Ingolf, you ran Hellboy at some point, didn't you?
Yes.
What was your nutshell take on that?
I think the game is fine, but the pre-written adventure was crappy because they had this weird high DC, so actually no character could ever succeed in finding anything. So I don't really know if they don't playtest or they had different characters for the thing written, or I don't really know.
Okay, that's good then. But the game itself, like the characters were interesting and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it is a version of 5e, and it had some tweaks that I don't remember anymore. Okay. But I think it might have worked, but you have to apply a bit more common sense then. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. That's because I keep pulling it out. I've been reading, end of last year, I started reading all the Hellboy. So I've read all of Hellboy. I'm up to date on BPRD for the trade paperbacks and all the supplemental stuff. So I'm really keen on getting at the table, but I've got this lingering, I don't know, the way that they do the uncovering of, or the outfitting feels kind of unnecessarily fiddly. But if it's worth the effort, if the characters feel interesting, the characters feel different, then I'll give it it's worth putting the time in, getting some pre-gens together.
Yeah. So I think there are better ways of playing 5e in a modern age. Okay,
that's good to know.
Yeah. Okay. So Amazing Adventures has a 5e version, and there is Everyday Heroes that also works fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I got D20 Modern too. So
yes,
Urban Arcana remains an old favorite. Okay, then guys, let's get back in. I believe there is some Grand Heist plotting afoot here. So Sally and Basil, why don't we do this rather than having roll and take the mean roll, because there's only two of you. Why doesn't one person take the lead and one person assist with stealth? That'll sort of reflect the collaborative stealth approach, because I think you guys are both trained to at least trained, maybe expert. Mm-hmm. Sally's an expert, trained. I think, in stealth, right?
Yeah, and she's a glowing role model, so I will follow.
Do we just want to follow the leader on that?
I don't know if that really no, because Basil is actually trained in it. Oh, and your mic is kind of askew, James.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because that's the way that follow the leader works, right? They get to sub in as if they were trained.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you make it one roll. Yep.
What you guys need to do is find some really slow companion. Oh, we got Dr. Outrstrung. Never mind.
So I got 12 in stealth. So I I think Sally might roll for me as well.
Okay. Sally, go ahead and give us a...
Let's go with that.
Oh, it ever gets a hero point, too. Excellent. So, like your employer, the two of you are completely undetected by the patrols that are searching around out here. And would you each give us a perception check, please? Nice. So, if it wasn't in question before, you actually overhear two people or one person giving instructions to 3 others about looking for tracks. Keep your heads down. Look for them tracks. Well, it look like bare feet, but with claws on them. But you approach the edifice of the cannery, and when you had approached before to do the tour of it, there's just like you knew you were coming up to the cannery thanks to 2 of your senses before you ever arrived here, and they weren't sight. You could obviously smell the place, and you could hear it. The mechanism of the machinery kind of going. There was a din in here that really didn't leave, the ringing in your ears until you were a couple of blocks away. At present, it's running, but it's not running loudly. It seems like only some of the machinery in there may be operating. There are lights on, but it does not sound like there is a crew in there the way there was before. How would you guys like to approach the cannery? You can imagine there are, just give you something to work with too. Sorry, Ingolf. There's the dock, like the loading area. There would be like the way that administration would go in. There's probably a place for the employees to go in as well. So lots of different potential ways to get into here. Sorry, Ingolf, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to. I have this wonderful feature called lengthy diversion, so I could try to have a lengthy diversion at some point.
Okay.
So that Sally could do all the rest.
So I think we'd want to go in. Quickest way to the actual cannery, I guess, is from the loading dock, because you've got to think that the loading bay goes straight pretty quickly into the factory.
Okay.
The actual canning.
Okay.
So let's try that. Let's get up close to the loading dock and keep an eye out for anybody.
Okay. So for this one, this will be for infiltrating into the cannery itself. I'm thinking stealth, but is there anything else you guys are thinking of using? And I guess that's a great feat too. How would you think to make use of that here? Is it to help with getting in, or to help with diversion while the machinery is operating?
Yes. So I would think that maybe we need some noise somewhere else to just distract the guys, so I could scuttle off somewhere else, create a diversion there, just maybe make some noise or make red sounds, whatever, and
how much of a hit to his self-esteem is it for Basil to be the one in the trash making a bunch of noise?
Yeah.
Such a stereotype.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know so much about his background.
Yeah. So why don't you give us a deception check to start things, get things going?
So I never roll above a 5 today. So maybe.
I was getting them out of your system. Your next roll will, total up to 20 for the entire day, I'm sure.
Yeah, just to re-roll, and yes,
there you go.
Much better.
So what is what's the distraction that Basil causes outside?
Yeah, I think actually I might make some noise, and so I think they will have some kind of garbage section or so, and I will make some noise there and make squeaky sounds and something like that. So the worst nightmare, rats in the cannery.
Okay. So I think you it's in fact even loud enough to cause folks to start kind of spilling out. What that's going to give you is 2 successes towards what's necessary to complete the sort of task that you need. Sally, while people are coming out to find out what the hell is going on outside, and is loud enough to be heard over the sound of what machinery is running inside. Sally, would you kindly, I think it's going to be stealth because you're trying not to be seen. But
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Go right ahead. That's a crit as well. 2 more you're contributing towards this, guys. So what do we see as Sally makes her way unseen into this thing?
just slide around the walls, under the lines, over the lines, as people dart by. So they have an inkling.
Okay. So they're all outside. And what you see now that you're inside is that the cannery, where it had, tons of people working in here before, it is nobody. There are about 4 people who came outside trying to check for things. And Basil, you would hear them talking about, it's those things what the father talked about. So you realize squeaking is probably the least of the things on their mind right now, and more whatever the hell that Father Lambert had told them about. But in here, Sally, it seems like there is nobody else. So really, the next thing is, as you pull a piece of paper out and unfold it, we get to learn what instructions Dr. Earthsprung gave here. So, Dr. Earthsprung, we already know you're granting a +1 to this, but let's see what the value of your advice is. You can choose to take a, what do you call it, to roll a, assurance, and just take, what it was, a 24? With assurance?
It would be, yeah.
Or you can roll to try and get better.
No, I'm going to roll it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's more.
Gotta make some
fun.
room for those hero points, eh?
I'm not there, so what's the worst that's going to happen to me?
27.
Ooh.
Oh, man. That is 1 off from a crit.
No, I won't risk getting it worse.
Okay. So
yeah, I'll go with that.
That is 5 points towards the task. Sally, now it is up to you to... All right. To see if these instructions can be parsed out. One of the upsides you've got is that Dr. Earthsprung was given a very comprehensive tour of this, so he has in his mind at least a clear way of operating these things, and has given you a pretty good engineering or drafting design of what's before you. Let's see if you can do it. Give us a crafting check at +1, please.
I think performance is more my thing.
Yeah.
So no modifier? Or
+1. Just remember to put the plus sign in. There we go.
Yeah, I think we'll re-roll.
That's actually, you know what? That's actually good enough.
Oh, good
yeah.
enough,
It was a very. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a really low DC for this, because as long as you follow, he's giving you instructions of like, push this, make sure this is this color, then push this thing in. So you follow this things, and the sound is cacophonous in here, because you're basically trying to run this thing without part of the cans going in. There's a terrible rattling, because as it's going through the process, these cans were supposed to have things in them. So as they're getting sealed and the lids are down and they're sealed up on one, they're way lighter than what they're supposed to. So these things are rattling and making all this fucking noise as you go. Basil, you can hear this, the sound, the quality of sound in here compared to what's going on inside. It has suddenly jumped up, as if like more mechanisms are adding to the din. And as you're kind of lurking out, with all these the guys who were in there inspecting the garbage and whatnot, one of them does seem to be going back in. So, would you like to do anything to try and distract them, take them out?
I'm not the one to take someone out, I suppose. I mean, I have a sap. Oh. But I mean, these cannery workers...
There's a real mean joke that could be made there, too.
Yeah, maybe I just... come on, I think there's some kind of overconfidence, so I think a strategic strike at the right point might be enough to at least dazzle someone.
Okay. So that sounds like you're trying to catch them unawares. So you could use stealth to try and get the drop on them.
So it was only one person, yes? So
So you could use stealth to try and get the drop on them. Or you could use acrobatics to try and clamber along to get yourself in a position to drop down on them. Or you could use athletics to be in a position to drop down on them. I'm happy with any of those skills being used.
Okay. I would like to convince you that I could use my intelligence modifier, because this is part of the strategy, because I have this sneak attack thing that the investigator does.
Yeah. I buy that. So is it your stealth plus the modifier for investigation? Is that what you're thinking, or?
No, it's just that now. Normally, I wouldn't do sneak damage, but I could do if I have a plan. So I just envision that Basil would wait until the person comes to a certain corner where he could just then move behind him and smash him from behind or something like that.
So are you thinking mechanically like you're using stealth with intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. So what's the difference between your intelligence bonus and your dex bonus?
It's just 2, I suppose. No,
Plus
1.
2. 1? Okay.
It's
So
one,
go ahead and give
yeah.
us a... This is technically part of your investigation too, so why don't you give us a stealth check at +2 then?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I will just spend my last reroll here.
Okay. You got to stall 5
Today.
minutes to get the next one, so... Come on.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. That includes the +2?
Yes.
That's it? Okay. I just want to make sure you weren't getting... So yeah, the out of nowhere, you suddenly appear, there's a... and this guy falls down unconscious. Sally, how are you planning... And that's another point, so 6 total so far. How are you planning on extricating yourself from here with these empty cans?
Now, I'm guessing they must have some trolleys to move them. So I'll stack those up. The quantity ordered by Adam.
Okay.
And
you could probably even carry the ones, because what you find when you pick them up, they're all empty. So like they're metal, they're not tin, so like they have a little more heft to them than like an empty cardboard box, but not a significant amount more. So you stack them down. Why don't you...
Do they have any cardboard? I'm not sure. Cardboard probably doesn't exist, but...
Let's see when cardboard was in... Oh yeah, because you're right, it's probably wooden boxes that are shipped out. Let's see here. When was cardboard invented? 1817, and the first pre-cut cardboard box, 1879.
That'll be kind of newfangled for Dagon to see.
And are you ready to have some national pride?
Scottish?
Scottish! Yes. All right. Then, but this is a pretty cutting edge thing. So let's say there probably is cardboard here.
Okay, so let's stack those up.
Okay.
And then this is a fish cannery, right?
Yes.
Are there any good fish lying around?
Most definitely. Yeah.
I'll grab a few and put them in the box as well.
Okay. So what are you thinking here? Athletics, maybe?
Yeah.
For just muscling stuff to get it done?
Let's have a go at that.
Okay.
Athletics. Ooh, we're not going to tolerate that.
Okay.
Let's try that one again. That's
there
more
you
like
go.
it.
All right. And then the last, so we need, as you guys are going, oh, you know what? Let's, Dr. Earthsprung has also given instructions for how to let this thing end at the end of an automated cycle. So Dr. Earthsprung, would you give us, this one is going to have to roll. You can't take assurance on this. Give us another crafting roll to see how well your instructions were, or how clear they were.
That's not great. Let's give it another go.
Okay.
No, well, that's what it is.
So I have some good news. That is one success, and that was the last one you needed in order to complete this. So, with that done, Sally, tell us what it looks like as you sneak out with a vaguely fishy-smelling stack of empty cans.
So I'm sliding. I slide off with my big cardboard box, and yeah, it'd be quite slickly done. But I nearly get caught. There's a little giggle as I go past us. So,
And what was the plan for you guys meeting up to make your way back to the Clements farm? Was it to meet up outside of the cannery, or?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, 1 minute off. So 1 minute from getting your next hero point. Did you spend your last hero point on that reroll, Sally? Or did you?
I used a hero point on that reroll. Yeah.
Okay. So then, why don't, Sally, you give us a stealth check again? I'm assuming that Basil's letting you take the lead for leaving the town undetected. Because you are not leaving by sea. No problem whatsoever. Everyone gets a hero point, except for Golag. He is hoarding them. And yeah, you guys are able to make your way back to the farm without detection. Dr. Ursprung, you have made your modifications to the the thing in the interim. Now, let's talk about the draft of the sailing ship. Was the plan to just moor the ship off of the... Like, let's assume that you guys did have a good plan for dealing with this. What was the thought for addressing the fact that you can't just sail it up to the beach and then all pile onto this stolen sailing ship?
How close do we think we can get to the shoreline? Or
probably within about safely between, like, I'd say 100 and 200 feet.
okay. So are we going to steal a little rowing boat or something? Just to go back and forwards?
That is an easy enough. You could do that without making any rolls. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our two choices are that or go out of town to do this. So if we can do the rowboat.
We were already given a rowing boat. No further complications necessary.
Sounds good. I was just saying the options.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, this was the most A-team-like version of us working we had. So everything worked.
All right. Then, Miss Dumer, do you have 2 hero points now or 1 hero point?
I should have 2. Yeah.
Okay. Is this showing?
I had 3, and then I used 1.
Sorry, maybe you just do your. Hold on, I'm gonna move back and forth.
You should have 3 actually. You got another one.
I guess I got now done the half hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I should be up to 3 now.
Okay, there we go. Sorry,
I had 3, then I went down to 2.
Yeah, the token wasn't displaying properly for me for some reason. So she's that stealthy. She's hiding her stats from the DM. So what? Excuse me, Golag. What is the message to let people ashore know that you are there? We could do a little old school reference to Saltmarsh here, I think, with different colored lights from the water.
I think I might just use my my light cantrip.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea.
Seems thematic. I'll give a little dealio, and if I see movement, I'm looking for the time, and then in the fog, perhaps they can make out the illumination.
So sailing here probably takes maybe half hour, maybe 45 minutes at most to get to sort of the point that you're going to be mooring off to be sure you're far enough. Let me think here. You know what? I'm going to assume you're going to go an hour to make sure that your light and the ship aren't visible from the town by accident. Right? Does that sound right? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah, oh, certainly, because even like an hour, if you're stealing the boat took an hour and sailing out is an hour, there's still 2 hours before Dr. Ursprung has completed his stuff. So Sally and Basil will be arriving back at the what do you call it? The farm, the Clements farm, at around to the 2 hour mark where Dr. Ursprung is still working away. You know, it's the sound of all the, you know, bang, 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 stuff from the garage. There's that Tom Waits song about what is he building down there? And that is what Dr. Ursprung is up to. Now, let me see if I've got something on...
There's also a Duran Duran song called Night Boat.
Night Boat.
I will take a good Duran Duran joke anytime.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Although now I'm going to have Rio caught in my head for the next couple of hours. So this is going to be a much larger ship, obviously, but I want to give you some indication of what it is like at night, Golag. Let's see here. With a thick fog. Let's see, that one or that one? I think that one's going to be good. All right. This is also an open ocean. It's a completely different kind of... It's a full-on galleon and whatnot, but... once you appreciate just how dark, even with your dark vision, though you can see everything... You're very alone here, out on this haunted shore. Golag, you know if everything is going according to plan, it will be at least 3 hours before your allies are beginning to come out and find you. So once you have weighed anchor, what are you doing on the ship?
That's a sweet ship. I might just be basking in the glory of...
Again, this is a... I did my quick search. I have...
I know.
Although
I got you.
I searched for ship for the images I've loaded so far, and the amount of spaceships I have on this, like, you would think I run a lot more sci-fi games. So...
You managed to hire a 3-decker.
And all on his own, without detection. He's that good.
Golag goes big. I mean, he just, and he started imagining the name of the company on the side of that 3-decker. And let's see. Well, you know what? I think he's going to explore the ship. That's what he's going to do. I think. I mean, he's going to, first of all, just maybe keep a sharp eye. His two things will be to, periodically make sure he has a look about. Yeah. And then other than that, explore the ship and see or I guess is it a boat? I guess we call it a boat. What do you think? I know we're back to shipping terms, but
I think it's technically a ship because it goes out on the ocean as opposed to a river. Okay. Is that what we landed on? The difference?
Yeah,
sure. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's short journeys. Maybe it's a yacht.
Oh
boy, we're getting new nomenclature in. I think the wheels may come off my my brain.
I like it, and Golag likes the sound of that. So he's going to explore the yacht a bit, though keeping an eye out periodically, having a look about if he is, going below deck at all. He's not going to get locked in down there. He wants to be able to keep an eye out up top, so he'll peek his head out periodically to have a look around.
Yeah. So why don't you give us a...
Sorry.
Good. Oh, did we lose Ingolf? Oh,
Yeah, I'm back already. Sorry,
All right.
I just...
There we go. Zigged when you should have zagged, I guess.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Okay, I
What
can't...
role? Was it crafting?
Oh, sorry, I didn't say. I kind of trailed off. I think it is... No, because if you're searching the ship, it's going to be perception, I think.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Oh, I might have to... I lost Ingolf in the... Can you guys see Ingolf's camera?
I can.
You can? Okay, so it's my fault.
Yep.
Let's see here.
Okay, I got everybody.
I'm going to roll again.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
And while you're rolling, is there anything in particular you're looking for on the ship?
I think couple things. Maps. So anything map oriented might be interesting.
Okay.
Because if he's got a map of, let's say, the keep area, not that he does, but I'd be curious. So maps and just evidence to the scheme. He might keep stuff here. I mean, he might not, but why not like stuff
A book
to this...
labeled plotting. Yep.
Yeah. The things that like anything that looks like that. What are we calling it? The what we found in the church. The
amulet.
The amulet. Whatever. Any the church materials would be interesting, perhaps, from this guy. Oh, it didn't work out.
Okay. So as you are looking around on here, you've gone below deck. This only has like one deck below. This guy is wealthy, but all of his money seems to have been sunk into this cannery. So this is a relatively recent addition. It looks like this thing is in the process of being kind of set up. You certainly find nautical maps on here, but they are, from what you can tell, these would be, someone more in the know could tell you, but there doesn't seem to be anything particular about this. These not like hand-drawn things. These are commercially available nautical maps, the kind of thing you would find in any kind of pleasure vessel. You find the usual, gear and whatnot you would find on such a vessel for, like, safety and for just, replacement ropes and replacement sail, that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem like it's provisioned at all, so there doesn't seem like this has been has seen use recently, if perhaps at all. And as far as the decor, but that has been given some attention, and in the main room, because of your dark vision, you don't need to light anything to see in here. You can see that there is, for the first time in quite a while, I'm going to turn off this particular music. I think we need something a little creepier. Oh, what is this? Oh, yes.
Nice.
I don't mean to worry you, but it's called Bleakwater Docks.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's October too, guys. Jeez, I think you guys are overdue for a horror. I mean, we've had such an absence of horror in this campaign thus far. There we go. Okay. So you are looking at the sort of like main area, the galley, I guess, for eating and whatnot down here, and there are a couple of portraits that are set up in here. One very bleary kind of the Paridar equivalent of the image replication photograph type thing, and it seems you recognize Mr. Horgan in there. There is an older gentleman in the photo as well, and by older I mean like really fucking ancient, in a wooden wheelchair. He does not look very well, and there is a woman along with 3 kids that are very, very young in this photograph, and you would guess from the stylings, it's either Mr. Horgan's father or Mrs. Horgan's father. And you can see the elusive Mrs. Horgan seems, if she has taken ill of late, there's nothing to suggest that's the case in her photograph. There are a couple of other photographs or paintings of different members. Clearly, this is intended to be kind of a place to celebrate the and try display the Horgan's successes. There are also some nautical things in here as well that are set up, perhaps not unsurprisingly, in a ship's hull. But that's when you hear a creaking from the deck above.
I will take a cautious peek out of the portal. What would you call it?
I think porthole is
ladder. Up.
Okay.
Up, yeah.
So you make your way back over there. Are you making any effort to be stealthy as you do so, or are you just walking over?
Okay. I am. Oh, that's poor. We'll try it again.
You didn't see that storm lantern on the ground.
Yeah. Not really a ship guy. I mean, I guess I am a ship guy. Let's see if I'm a ship guy. Oh, it's better.
You carefully step over the storm lantern.
Yeah.
And you make your way up. As you're going along, you can hear the sound of something moving on the deck. And you then freeze in place, wishing to meld with the very shadows, when you hear a gurgling, inhuman voice say something. Inside. And something responds. Something and moves over your head. There's at least two things that were speaking up on the deck. What languages do you speak again? I can actually make it easier. Do you speak Fang Dragon or no?
I do not. I speak Common, Elven, Infernal, Jotun, Orcish, and Undercommon.
Okay. So whatever, if this is indeed a language and not two beasts communicating each other with rude sounds, you have no idea what language this is. You can give us a society check, please. But you know what? You're almost certain one or two of those sounds were identical to what you heard on that sermon. Perhaps it was the quality of the recording on the Clockwork Spy that altered the human voice enough to make it recognizable to your ear. There is a tongue that is being spoke on the deck of the ship, and it's that same deep speech that Sally's folk use to communicate, and what the Father Lambert utilized in the course of his sermon.
And have we ever heard what we saw peek into the church? We never saw that. We never heard them speak or any of their kind, right?
No. You hear a sloshing outside as well. There are portholes on here you could look out if you like. You got dark vision, so
I will.
You can see nothing but waves lapping, but then you see past a dark-colored fin protruding from the water. A shark.
And do I think that was what kind of sound did I hear? It was a gurgling. Did you say? What was the sound?
A splashing.
Splashing.
More than just the
And
sound of the waves lapping against the shore. Something, the wake of something passing.
Gotcha. All right.
For it to make that kind of sound, it must be some shark.
I'm going to, and is there a door on this ladder down, that leads from the deck to down? I mean, I would think there would be in case heavy seas, that you could close it so water wouldn't come in. I'm just taking inventory of what I've got going on here. So the stairs down there, there's a door that could be closed if I wished. Is that right?
I'm not sure, Sean, I'm not sure if you're using a different mic or if you've got the gain set to a couple things, but there's been a couple times today where your audio has spiked.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It kind of screeched out. Like it's only been twice, and that it sounded like it was in that direction just a moment ago, but I've never had that happen with you before, so just so you're aware.
It could be the scene. But
it's the October version.
It's the October theme, exactly. Jump scares by way of audio tracks. I love it.
I turned on the October switch, and
so the way you come down is actually like a set of stairs. It's not like a ladder that would go down into a hold per se. There's just a thing. So you could, in theory, you're not going to have to make a stealth check again. With your stealth existing stealth check, you could try and like close the door if that's what you're intending to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was taking inventory of what was there. I
believe they call that the boogeyman strategy. Just hide yourself in the closet and you'll be fine.
Pretty much.
What do you think?
I think I'm going to...
I think your eyes probably cannot help but go to the clock, the maritime clock that hangs in the galley here. It is still a good 2.5 hours before any of your colleagues are to be out here.
I will... I guess I will close... I'll try to close the doors.
Okay. So you don't need to roll again. You've already rolled quite well on that, but let me make a roll for... Okay. So you close the doors, and then what do you do? There's still the creaking above, but it seems still slow, plodding steps.
And I don't hear anything that suggests to me that they may be messing with the rigging or anything like that, do I? Okay.
You can give us a perception check, please.
Okay.
You are seeking, technically, here.
Yeah. Oh. I've only got one left, so I'm going to wait.
That's a nat 1. That's a crit fail. I just realized.
Yeah, we could, is what it is.
Okay.
See what happens.
So you're trying to sound... Remember that storm lantern we mentioned earlier?
Okay.
You're trying to listen, and you stagger back because you think you hear something creak above you, and maybe something falls over, and you can hear the sound of feet moving over in the direction, in your mind, of the door. You hear more sloshing outside, and a silence.
This ship had, so it has masts, right?
A single mast, I think.
A single mast. And how close is that mast to my stairs down, would you think?
Maybe like 7 feet, 8, between 7 and 10 feet, probably.
Okay. Just again taking inventory, given my levitate spell, just opening up different avenues of what to do. Okay, go ahead. I'm all right so far. I'll see what happens.
As you freeze in place, in the galley, a half hour passes with just the sound of the water lapping against the hull, the creak of the boards overhead, and you hadn't really turned your mind towards how much a ship makes sounds before you got on board this one, particularly when there's utter silence elsewhere on the vessel. So it's a half hour before you are confident that the sounds you're hearing are not indeed things moving on the deck, but just the vessel itself. Your eyes, I imagine, are still trained on that door, closed, leading to the deck.
Yeah, I mean, over that time, and also probably a periodic little peek out the portal, just since it's the two things I can look at.
Okay. You spy out the portal, and again, like your eyes, you feel like they're playing tricks on you. What is a regular occurrence, and you can almost time it. That fin. And then again, circling your ship almost, at least in your mind's eye. And that's why when 15 minutes in, the thing passes and does not return, your imagination begins to craft scenarios of what has happened to that prowling shark.
After a half hour, I'll take a peek. I'll try to I'll
Okay.
crack them open, take a little peek.
Why don't you give us a stealth check again, please?
All right.
Happy with that?
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Okay. You make your way up. Pull the wooden doors open. You cannot see or hear anything from where you are standing in the stairwell. And you are assured that the mast is still standing. Give us a survival check, please.
Okay.
You're suddenly going to do a 3-day hike. Oof. Are you satisfied with that?
What am I? What am I trying to do? What is this?
One of the things you can use survival for is tracks.
Sure. Let's. We'll give it another try.
You know, because you have seen them well imprinted into that lawn, the grass surrounding the church. These are not markings on the wood, the treated wood of the deck, obviously. But where the wet has been displaced, or where the wet has been left by these, from where you were sitting, the light from the moon through the fog casts, and you can see the reflection of tracks in your mind identical to those you saw lurking around the church. They are fresh enough to have not been something you overlooked before.
Do they give any indication as to the purpose? Do they concentrate around the what do you call the wheel? The tiller? The
tiller is the...
Yeah. So anyway, whatever, the steering wheel of a boat that I am struggling to name correctly.
Whatever confidence I had from getting draft right is shattered now. I don't know, steering
cool
wheel
names too. So you want to think of them, but I can't think of it.
Anyway.
So I'll take a look. If there's a concentration of them.
This actually wouldn't have a wheel on it. Like, it's too small of a ship. It would have an actual rudder you would direct, and then you would use the sails to sort of largely navigate. But what you can see, if you go back over there, there's the steps seem to be, if you were to be conducting a cautious search, because the footsteps seem to go all across the opening of the deck and right up to the door as well. They also seem to be leading up from the water. So whatever was here seems to have clambered up on board. But as far as you can tell, they are no longer here.
All right. Yeah, I'll just keep an eye out and keep a watch.
Okay.
And wait for the appointed time.
All right. So then, 2 hours after, Sally and Basil, Mr. Clemens offers you more of his homemade hooch to warm you. Cool being out in the fog this time of night. And around 3:30 in the morning, Dr. Earthsprung comes back in, confident that he has constructed the device the way that... so it is ready to be used behind a ship. It seems, Dr. Earthsprung, they have also recovered your the cans that you had requested. Though there is a bit of an odor to them, probably from being in the cannery. Or from having pilfered fish stacked on top of them.
Yeah, so I will fill those. So make a small hole, use a funnel of some description that I've got from the shed, fill them up, and then...
Give us a 1d3 roll, please. I'm just curious how long this will take. Only 1 hour. So this will be 4:30 when Dr. Earthsprung will be completed this stuff. That means that Sally and Basil, you have 3 hours effectively of time to kill, either in idle chat with Mr. Clemens or doing something else. Ms. Dumer and Basil, what would you guys like to do with the time?
Are we concerned about Golag? I asked the others.
Like in general, or?
Yeah, no, sometimes he likes to delve a little bit too much in his newfound things, like with his car and his picture.
And now his boat.
Yes,
We'll not
exactly.
see him again. He's messing around in boats. I guess we'll just make sure that the cans are all ready, right? We've got to get them all stoppered
Okay,
up
good.
and packed.
Let's punch holes into cans.
So you're
we'll do
assisting.
we do the punching when we're actually about to dispense them, or
Okay.
So
we're
then
just
we
going to load them.
what is the plan from... by 4:30 in the morning, you have the cans are all ready for dispensers. You also have that reworked weed killer dispenser, and you have a sufficient supply of poison in both. You have not yet acquired the antidote that you were hoping of it, but is the intent to secure that? Or just to take advantage, make use of what you've got here, and you have some supplies in Igor that could administer like antitoxin to, or antidotes, I guess, to Sally. It's not a toxin; it's a poison. But that won't do anything with whatever happens with all that poison shit when it goes out to sea.
Yeah, I think
that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the plan is going to have to be, get the job done, and then as soon as the spire opens, start, working on the sort of antidote, and then use the same ship and the same sort of dispense or machine to put that into the area again. So, it'd be the same sort of same mission, but with the antidote instead of the poison. So to reduce the amount of time that it's infecting the water, basically.
Okay. So can we speed up the building here? No, we can't help with that. So we can just make plans now how to get efficiently to get this thing together. We need so to support Adam in finishing faster, maybe.
Okay. You can get stuff ready to transport down if you choose as well.
Put in the carts and stuff.
Yeah. Once everything is ready to, this is going to be running about an hour later than what you had planned. So, Golag, once the time for rendezvous has passed, what is going through Golag's mind? Because you give the 10-minute leeway, you give the half-hour leeway, 45 minutes, still no sign of your companions. And at the sound of every sloshing, you're beginning to go and inspect different sides of your ship. Forgive me, the ship.
How far offshore do you think I would be? Like, I wanted to 100. You said 100 to 200 feet.
Yeah, between 150 and 200, probably. Well, I probably said 100 to 200, yes, but I'm thinking more. I honestly don't know, and I guess more to the point, you don't know. So without knowing the shores, I'm assuming you're sort of erring on the side of caution.
Yeah. And there's still fog, right? The
yes,
typical...
but not as much as there has been in past.
Yep. Let's see. I mean, I have a limited amount of options. I mean, I could move, but then I'm off the spot. I'm supposed to be... I don't think... I was asking because it doesn't really... Wouldn't be able to use it anyway. I don't really have any way to communicate. I have a message cantrip, but it's ranged. It's pretty good range, but it's still... I mean, I can't even see them, so it doesn't matter. I think I'm gonna just have to maintain vigilance because I can't think of anything better to do. So,
okay,
don't mess it up more than it might be at the moment.
Yeah. So you're afflicted with the impatient condition.
Yes.
Then
I will settle in with my familiar, and we will lament together.
You'd play noughts and crosses with him, but he always lets you win anyway, so it's just humiliating. With Dr. Ursprung's contraptions assembled, Sally, Basil, and Dr. Ursprung, how do you transport everything down to this waiting rowboat?
We're going to have to use the cart that the Farmer Clements has provided.
Yeah. I think I can't really help with the cart, but I could maybe scout around so that we don't run into townsfolk.
Yeah, we're gonna have to skirt the town anyway, but yeah, anyone that's on the outskirts.
Okay.
That's probably a good idea.
All right. So as far as you can tell, Basil, as you make your way down with a laden cart using the mule that Father, I'm doing it now, that Mr. Clements, he's suddenly been ordained. Mr. Clements has brought down, has loaned you in order to transport this stuff. The apparatus for distributing the poison or the weed killer is, I imagine, something that can easily be transported separate. Loaded onto the cart along with all the cans of poison. You make your way down to the shore, not without some challenge, because it's just not really designed to do this, to bring it down to a sandy and wet shore. But we're able to do so. Who would like to take the lead on the perception check to find the boat, the note, or the light?
I think that's Sally's business because it's on the water.
And he's just... So I'm being daft here because we were saying this is sail driven, right? It's not steam. So, yeah. I was just going to think otherwise I could be able to hear it underwater.
Oh, quite possibly. Yeah. No, this thing, it's
It won't be making a noise. So right.
Yeah.
So I guess it'll just be pure eyesight then.
Okay. So once you give a perception, then Basil and Dr. Ursprung could assist as a reaction as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Woohoo!
Not necessary at all. Sally, you can spy the glint of light from before you even make your way down onto the beach itself. Who is going to be? It'll take you a couple of loads to get everything out. Probably, I'm thinking 2. I'm trying to think here. I'm picturing those long, like the actual proper fishing boats. You actually, I think 2 only because you've got 4 of you effectively between the 3 of you plus Igor and the equipment, the thing. So it'll take 2. Although you have rigged it to float, Dr. Ursprung, so you could get everything out in 1 load if you like. It is kind of putting all your fish in 1 barrel, as it were. Only the fish are poison.
But all the cans are sealed. They're not. So even if we sort of dropped them, we could recover them potentially.
Yeah, come on, let's do it in 1 go, and then
We'll do it in 1 go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you load everything up. Golag, unfortunately, you are still well and truly oblivious to this. So it's not until everyone gets loaded in, you've got the thing floating, and you begin bringing it out. Sally, as you are making your way out to the ship, you're about halfway when you can spy about maybe 50 feet away. You hear it first, and from the combination of your amazing perception roll, the wake that comes, and your dark vision, you can see about 75 feet away from your boat, there is a shark fin. And this seems curious for being so close to shore. Certainly not impossible, but curious for it to be so close to shore. It seems to be moving in the opposite direction of where you were traveling, and then it disappears into the fog.
Unnerving. I'll mention that. Well, sharks out here. Very strange.
Can you sort of roughly work out how big it was from the size of the fin or not?
I think you need Richard Dreyfuss to stand on the end of your boat in order to properly measure it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But
well, luckily we've got a bigger boat, so just got to get to it.
All right, so you, apart from the ominous fin that you saw, you're able to reach the boat, and Golag, they're almost like in view and at the boat when you finally hear noise, and you look over and you can see your 4 companions, including Igor, along with a stack of unlabeled cans and dragging some kind of apparatus that's floating on the water as it goes up towards this. What happens next, guys? And this thing also, it's probably from the water to the top, it's probably only 7 feet. This is not the, 3-deck, whatever the fuck, ship that we've got on the illustration here. So
we'll just start unloading the boat onto the main ship. I'll get Igor on board and start passing all the stuff up to him, and then trying to secure the actual device on the back of the boat.
Okay.
Or ship.
You can take assurance on that as well, too. That's not going to be a contested thing. But Dr. Ursprung, would you give us a perception check, please?
Okay.
So you can imagine that getting this thing set up involves kind of leaning out over the boat, over the water, and hooking this thing up, making sure it doesn't interfere with the rudder, and making sure it's secure, and has its payload attached to it. And you're about 10 minutes into your task of just getting this thing secured, drilling things in to make this thing make sure it's properly attached. Drilling? No, you wouldn't drill into the hole, would you? Rigging. You'd be rigging it up, I imagine. And you hear a sloshing as about 15 feet off from you, a fin moves by. Oh, in fact, boy, oh boy, oh boy, talk about Chekhov's puppet. I'll move closer to the camera.
Nice.
This is a joke for Hobbs like 3 years ago, and then I haven't had a chance to make it. And back.
Yeah. Nice. Props.
Exactly.
Props.
No Bush League DM in here. Puppets galore.
No expense spared.
Exactly. So you see this thing go by, and you're able to track it around, and you can see this thing, it's keeping a distance from the boat, but this thing seems to be moving around, and I imagine all you can think is, for what you know about sharks, did fucking Golag cut himself or something in this, or...
Why the interest?
Mm-hmm. So while you're working away on that,
shark.
Yeah, there's nothing else. I guess first off, do you do anything in response to that, Dr. Earthsprung?
Other than just constantly be looking over my shoulder to keep an eye on it, it'll probably slow me down slightly. Because I'm not concentrating fully on what I'm doing, or not, at least not 100%. So it'll probably slow me down a bit, and I'll make sure the others have got onto the boat and safe, and everything else is. So hopefully get everything finished and get onto the boat as quick as possible.
Okay.
But yeah. So
Sally and Basil, once you get on board, and Golag, once the rest of your staff is on board, what do you guys say you're doing?
Well, I quickly catch them up on, since the shark has everyone's attention, the fin, I will catch them up that
Shark only has Dr. Earthsprung's attention when he's at the back of the boat, though.
Oh, okay.
But if you mention it, what I think is fair is that if you mentioned what was happening in the shark, Sally, you could feel free to mention that we did see a shark going on.
I'm going to catch them up on the fish folk that were on the boat suddenly, and their appearance and what their behavior was. And yes, it was quite disturbing. I was not looking forward to an encounter with them on my own, but fortunately I was able to stay below decks, to which they didn't seem interested until they left. And then I unfortunately, inadvertently perhaps not scared them off, but I feel I probably made too much noise. They realized my presence and left. Almost like when we were in the church, in a sense, where they appeared and then just as quickly left. Not saying it's identical situations, but it reminded me of it.
Sally, from what you know about the Sea Devils from your role from before, that they're definitely not a folk that shrinks from violence, typically.
Yeah.
So
they did have that look about them. They did give that impression.
So my pure presumption is that they were inspecting what's this boat doing here, and they came up on board. Perhaps it would not be surprising if they recognized the boat. The boat is part of the community. Perhaps they knows whose it is, but and they came on to see what was going on. That's a pure speculation. That's my only because they didn't seem to take anything that I have detected yet. The boat did not seem to be out of place. It didn't do any damage that I can tell. So I'm not sure what their purpose was other than to inspect, perhaps. That's what I have. And the shark showed up with them, seemingly.
Have you noticed any markings on the boat? Any of these symbols that we've seen before to, ward them off or tell them that this is a protected ship or...
Golag, would you kindly take one action to hold on to your socks And then give us an occultism roll, please.
Indeed. And I will throw that out there. My feat.
It's precisely what I'm asking you to roll for. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, yeah. I got one now, so I'll do it again.
So you are thinking back to, because I imagine in the time you've been pacing around this thing and having looked down below, there are no markings. I mean, there is a crest, obviously, for the Horgan family. They're precisely the kind of jumped-up family that would want to have a crest for themselves, as opposed to, you know, they don't inherit any manors or whatnot. They just happen to be the wealthiest folks in town, or wealthiest family in town. And you remember there was a crest that did incorporate some kind of nautical elements to it. For one, you do not see anything on the ship that is overtly related to anything you viewed in the church or whatnot, apart from it appears, you know, with the mention of that, you go back downstairs to that photograph of all of them, and there is nearby a crest of the family, and you can see, and it's one of those carved things. It's a carved from wood. It has been disfigured and reworked to a degree, as if they changed one crucial element of the design. And looking through, you can find that there is a design. If you look through the materials, because of your occultism roll, or just thinking back on what you reviewed, you're able to find one place where the previous crest was on there. And there are elements about the toppling, like the Crusaders toppling the castle into the ocean, that were once part of this. That is not there any longer. It has been replaced by something else.
Indeed, Dr. Ursprung, I see some changes made to this crest. You see here, doesn't match what was originally in the crest.
But do you really think it should concern us now? I mean, shouldn't we just move on with the plan?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to stop us from continuing the plan. It was. I'm just curious if these creatures are friend or foe.
Yes. I mean,
yeah. Maybe Sally can make some kind of contact.
If we see him again, certainly.
Yeah,
I think I'd just like to be able to overhear them rather than interact with them. But let us see. But these changes, are they... Can you recall the original and see what the change is?
The change is, well, he is able to find it somewhere. If you all go below deck, once you finish setting up the apparatus, Dr. Ursprung, which otherwise is no difficulty. What do you want to do with the boat? You tie it up to the ship and drag it?
Can we tie it to the side?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of so I don't interfere with the dispensing at the back sort of thing?
Yeah. So he's able to compare it, and it's a very simple stylized thing that used to be incorporated into the crest before, of like a stylized knight toppling a castle into an ocean. That has been worked out, and there is instead a spiraling conch in place of it, like a nautiloid conch.
Mm-hmm. But not anything we've seen.
That is something you have seen in... let me think here. Have you? You have not, no.
Well, let's continue. Let's continue with our mission. Let's head towards the ruins.
Okay. With Dr. Ursprung on here now, are you going to the... Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, the ruins are at the direct point. So it will be about an hour. So it's going to be about 5:30 in the morning. By the time you reach there, still before dawn. In the interim, as you make your way there, was there any plan made for any of the guardians, if any, on shore? Or is the plan to slip in there? I think you all have dark vision now that Adam has replaced his eyes, so you need not have any illumination on the ship. And one benefit of the fog is, with the fog and the cloud cover, it'd be very hard for them to spot your ship unless they heard it. Oh, but this fucking thing... Oh, so are you using the apparatus, which will make noise, or are you using the cans? Which did you... You have both options available to you. So I guess those are my two questions. Which one are you using to dispense the weed killer, and what do you plan to do, if anything, about any folks on shore?
So I think we use the cans to start with, unless there's anything that goes wrong or any problems, and then maybe use the other device to put the antidote out. It might give a better sort of distribution and might do a better job.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the shoreline.
It, right? We could, because we want to wait to do the antidote afterwards, right? For when the tide turns. So it must have a good 6 hours.
Well, plus I've got to get the chemicals and make it. So, but what about the shoreline? I mean, we're going to get good cover from the mist and the fog. The boat will be fairly quiet.
Yeah, I think we for distributing the poison, we have no problem. But when we come back for the second time, then they will know we are there. So,
well, they know the boat's missing, won't they?
Yeah. So that will be a problem for a different situation. So now we are on board of the ship, and we should just go and finish the first mission.
So
I will. The only thing I was going to say is I'll make up some sort of concoction or antidote that Sally can sort of take.
That's going to be kind of on the, like, one of the uses you can make of medicine is to treat poison, and
so
that's
after the...
Yeah, it's kind of seeing how her system is responding to it, then applying it.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I've got what I need before she goes in, you know, in case she has a bad reaction to it.
Okay.
Yep.
So then I think we end our session with your ship sailing into the lagoon, largely concealed by the mists and fog that cling to the... I guess fog would be out over the water. The fog that clings to the air, and slowly and silently picking the solder off that has sealed up the poison cans and push down into the water. Down into the water. And we'll find out what response that receives in 2 weeks' time. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 8 of our ongoing Spires of Paridar campaign, and the Quiet Village by the Sea mystery. As is always the case, if you have any comments or questions or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There is also a link down below in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server. We have a channel there dedicated to the Spires of Paridar campaign, as well as one dedicated to Pathfinder 2, and you are more than welcome to join us over there. I did share, if you are a Pathfinder 2 fan and also a fan of old school stuff, I shared a link there to a really amazing Dark Sun conversion that someone had put together for playing Pathfinder 2 in the Dark Sun setting. It's very, very cool. There's also a ton of other channels over there with a great community. You are more than welcome to join us over there. There's also a link in the description of the video to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. They have not only an outstanding selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. including a bunch of obscure Paridar. It's so obscure it doesn't exist. Obscure Pathfinder First Edition stuff. So you're more than welcome to head on over there. They also have a really cool feature called a want list. If they have something listed in stock that is not, they have something listed in their catalog that isn't in stock, you can often put it on a want list. They'll send you an email as soon as it comes in stock, and they restock old and out of print stuff pretty frequently. And if you make a $10 purchase, a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code FALLMUSER, all one word, all caps, at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% in a purchase. That is going to be good until January 15th, 2024. So if you're listening to this after that point, come back to one of our more recent videos and get the more recent discount code. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. We've been talking throughout the session about voting going on, and that is because it is part of our year-long charity campaign. The Heroes Save Villages campaign benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including at present ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and Morocco. There's also I guess first off, all donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to benefit the kids who benefit from their services. As a small way of saying thank you, this year we have been running a year-long campaign, and anyone who has donated $10 or more since June 1st, 2023 can head on over to the Dungeon Musing Discord server's Charity Initiatives channel and cast their vote for the final session. We have one more session coming up, and voting has been fast and furious on what game we're going to play and what kinds of heroes we're going to play for a campaign. Our final session set in the 1980s. We have been all across space and time over the course of this campaign, from 1st century Rome to 16th century Caribbean to the 70s in Berlin to 19th century China. So this will be a really fun wrap-up. The donors have been shaping all aspects of this campaign, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the final selection for this final session will be. We do have one strong leader for what kinds of heroes we're playing, but the voting is still wide open. If you donated $10 or more since June 1st, 2023, through the Heroes Save Villages campaign, please head on over and cast your vote for this final session. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart illuminators for today. So Sean, James, Ingolf, and Darren, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Congratulations on making away with empty cans and a stolen posh boat.
Yeah.
Truly, some people look for magic items, gold, or other kinds of riches. Truly, your treasures are unique. So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time to see what happens once our this weed killer has been applied. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our stalwart illuminators are trying to avoid as they rid this quiet village by the sea of its troubles. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.